Today we are very happy to be hosting Alexandros Yiorkadjis, who has presenting the sculpture here and another work in the previous room. And he will be informing us about his practice and a very long research that he has conducted in order to be able to present these works. And we're very grateful for this. I want to start by saying a few words about the exhibition that we are in now, The Catharsis of an Island. It is hosted here at the PSI Foundation, and we thank Danila also for hosting these talks. The exhibition is curated by art collector Nikos Patihis. It showcases over 100 visual artworks of various media, techniques and styles, mainly by Cypriot artists. The works have been collected with passion and care over the past 35 years. The exhibition commemorates the 50th anniversary of the 1974 Turkish invasion, highlighting a significant and historically tumultuous period for Cyprus, marked by numerous efforts for healing and social restructuring amidst significant global changes. And a biography of the artist, Alexandros Yiorkadjis was born in Nicosia in 1981. He began studying art at the age of 8 under sculptor Christos Symeonides and pursued his passion for sculpture at the Academy of Fine Arts in Perugia, Bologna, and Marseille. His first solo exhibition debuted in 2007 at Bologna's Art Synergy Gallery, coinciding with his nomination for and receipt of the National Sculpture Prize, Premio Nazionale dell'Arte, for his sculpture Conflicto. Yiorkadjis' work has been showcased internationally, including at the Venice Biennale in 2011, 2018, and 2024, in Prague's Contemporary Art Festival, and Milan's Salon de Mobile. In 2018, he also won the first prize at the Larnaca Biennale. His monumental sculptures explore human existence and consciousness and are featured in collections such as the Ministry of University of Italy, the Central Bank of Cyprus, and private collections worldwide. He is currently participating in the Cameroon Pavilion at the 60th Venice Art Biennale. His long-term research includes work around the concept of catharsis, exploring it through the lens of diverse traditions. So, Alexander, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being here. It is a real pleasure to participate in this exhibition. Usually I am alone in my laboratory for a long period of times. I'm not used to speak about the works, and especially on this subject, on the concept of the multidimensional nature of the human being. The objective is to be able to speak about these subjects. Usually, we do it with art as a way of communication. So, thank you all. I will start with a prayer. May we be connected with the divine grace of Source. May all entities in need of assistance be released in the healing light of divine grace. May we be divinely guided to do what is good for ourselves and the evolution of life on this planet. I hope the stress will subside as we go on. I put everything here so you also can read if I don't speak clear. Gratitude to Mr. Nikos Patihis and the founders of PSI Foundation. Mr. Nikos Patihis, I would like to thank you for your service to the community of Cyprus. Growing up on this island, I can personally say that your work has and is continuing to enrich my life with culture. Your love and passion for the arts is truly inspiring. Thank you. So I will start with this sculpture. It is a representation of truth, naked truth. It is an archetype. Usually truth is being shown naked, holding a mirror. So everything starts with this question: what am I as an entity and what is happening on this planet? This is my way of interpretation from my level of perception. So I collect information and I try to put them down in a form just to give them space to be seen and think about. So feel free to make your own interpretations and about these subjects. So this is an introduction of myself. I will try to go very fast because there's a lot of information I will try to say about it. It's a long research. So, growing up, obsessive interest about animals and life on this planet. My hero was David Attenborough. I was growing up watching nature documentaries. So I have an impression of, on a planetary level, of my perception of the world. I was doing karate from 4 years old and art lessons from the age of 8. I was introduced to many cultures and beliefs from a young age: meditation, Tai Chi, Oriental concept of Zen through the martial arts, Christian Orthodox upbringing, and the concept of the enemy, because Cyprus is a divided island. I am born from a refugee parent, so all this question about existence started at a very young age, and being here in Cyprus, being born in Cyprus, arises more questions, because the subject of division is felt and reminded. I would like to talk a little bit about empathy and the concept of energy sensitivity. We are all creators. We create energy. This energy can be sensed in many levels. It can be sensed at a physical level. It can be sensed at an emotional level, mental energies, spiritual energies. These energies can be projected through the being. They can be stored into our energy fields or into places. People who are very sensitive energetically can be unconsciously influenced by these energies, either in the beginning unconsciously, maybe later more consciously. So I will start here with this sculpture, Subconscious, which is exhibited in the next room. It was created in 2007. So here you have, it is a concept of the subconscious. So you have the channels are integrated with the brain. So it's about the external and influence and the concept of authentic presence. So in the beginning, here I was in my early 20s about all the research about existence. And this was starting to talk about trying to express the concept of why do I believe the things that I believe? Do I want the things that I want? Are these my ideas? Are these my feelings? Or did I pick them from the environment? So, yeah. These are the two main projects that I wanted to create. It started from 2004. This concept one, it's called introspection. And it is, I was trying to analyze the human being in its totality: mental, emotional, physical, and energetic body, being. I will show you later how this form changed in trying to make this sculpture. The objective was to represent this piece, and there was a long research to learn the techniques and the materials. The other one, it's called I Am Here, and it is about the human being at a collective level, collective identity. These are parallel works that were happening in the academy while I was trying to learn the techniques to do the other works, the bigger projects. So this one later became where they completed La fine di un obiettivo and recollection. A lot of my subject is about different states. One is transformation, and the other is embodiment. So these were parts of the making of the introspection. First, you can see on the right side was the analysis of the different layers of the being. These are steps when you don't see before. So in order to make this figure, I had to construct all the body and then work on it. In the beginning, it was distracted, but I didn't like the way it was, the energy that it was created, so I destroyed it. And many years later, I came and completed it. I was working on it for many years in order to. So this is a current way that I work. So when high frequencies come in, people who did their inner work, healing traumas and misbeliefs, will experience blissful states. If not, whatever is of lower nature will come to the surface to be acknowledged. The first time that I've heard this message was by James Gilliland. Later, I found out that there are cultures that create healing ceremonies where this process is being created consciously in a safe space. Usually we can see that in shamanic contexts of transformation. And this, I noticed that this situation happened to me without knowing it. I just found myself. I was working on this figure, trying to make a sculpture, a man made of light. In the process of that, I destroyed it and I made this sculpture. So this is, when the light came in, the concept of high frequencies, this is what I actually had to express, what was the issue that I had to work with. Later, also, this is a symbolic way of the higher expression and the lower animalistic nature. We can see it like that. Or we can see it also from the point of giving energy and taking energy. That is later. This was, it took the first National Prize of Arts, 2007, and it is in the Ministry of Education in Rome. This is entitled Trambattido Respiro. So I was trying to also, at the same time that I was working on one subject, I was working on another subject on the collective. So it was in together the concept of inner work and outer work. This is a video projection where people walk, and when you go on the end, you put your face in the hole and you appear in a different dimension where you see yourself one with the other people in a space, an infinite space, like a different dimension. So this is another symbolism with materials regarding, again, the concept of layers of the being, physicality and the non-physical, spiritual. And here, again, the same subject on the concept of transcendence. I have other texts, but I'm not going to read it now. I'm going to go faster because we have a lot of books to show. This was from my personal exhibition. Again, here you have the body as a cage. The door is in the place of the heart, and the key is in the mind. So it's a connection of the mind and the heart. When you go in, you start to see the different layers of the being, and it ends with the installation human that shows the two aspects of the being incorporated, the concept of physicality and the concept of spirituality, sacredness. So the materials are symbolic. The gold symbolizes purity. So I like to create spaces where the viewer can experience situations and discover So in this exhibition, you have the different stages as progresses. Here, it was when I managed to complete the sculpture introspection. When you close the light, some parts of the iron becomes blue fluorescent. This is the concept of channeling light. The human being as a light being, not only as matter, but also the concept of channeling light. And in parallel, I was working on other subjects on the society. This is group therapy, very direct, on the concept of animals, protection of the animals, the natural world. Dietro le palpebre, the concept of inner conflict and external manifestation. So the personal, the struggle at an internal level that can be manifested externally. This is also a metaphor for peace and war. You can see that or as a condition of the individual or as a condition of humanity. What can make me see other people as the enemy or lover? Now, during the research for Documento Essere Umano, which was the research for my thesis, film documentaries, which it was a very hard period because I was diving in to find the ugly truth. I had these moments, say that a moment of sweet distraction. Again, this is a process that I've seen later being created in shamanic ceremonies where this transformation happens in a constructed way. So here is the two figures. One, it is existence, and the other one is loving existence on the back. Many years later, after I finished this piece here, I came back and I completed them. One, it is exhibited in the Municipal Art Center of Limassol, an exhibition entitled Relativity, and it's completing today. Now, the figure here on the table is also a sculpture that I completed later and was presented. This research of understanding what is happening on this planet, it started as through documentaries. So I make a selection of documentaries about different subjects. The first part is about nature, how human existence evolved on this planet in relation of nature, the natural world, and technology. The second documentary is about preservation of the natural world and what is happening from planet Earth. I'm going fast. The third is Earthlings, how we use animals in our society. I'm going fast. And after every chapter, there is a sculpture. Here was Animal in the Collezione. The second part is society. How is society being built? The concept of, so here I understood the power of multinational companies and the banking system, which was shocking. And on the end of that is group therapy. The third part is the concept of transhumanism, the evolution of human being in relation with technology. So it's a very nice documentary, this one, because it takes from biotechnology to nanotechnology to AI, and it raises question about how much technology can a human being contain to be called human. And there are many different, here is nanotechnology. This was in 2011. when I was doing this research. So, and we're talking about nanobots at the size of blood cells that can interact with your body, with your brain. The concept to integrate technology with the human being and the human consciousness and the AI. And here it's cryonics, for example. So it's a different discussion regarding consciousness and technology, and the theory of singularity in the sense of when all consciousness of human being is united with AI and then can be like one entity. So this is a real concept that these scientists have and see as the evolution of humanity, some of them. And here I put Stellark, an artist who works directly with the concept with technology, integration. The fourth part is spirituality and metaphysics. The concept of religion, division, mysticism, this need of mysticism embedded in the human being, in different traditions. Here we have the chakra system, the endocrine system at the physical level, and then the chakra system at the energetic level. Concept of meditation and the raising of frequency of the body. Other concepts. Here we have the parapsychologia, which is a part of psychology that speaks about this concept, metaphysical aspects. Documentaries about beings, humans that experienced near-death experiences, and they talk about the afterlife. This is about the reincarnation from Australia, that they hypnotized women and they sent them to the previous life, and then they went to check out if what they saw it was correct. Surprisingly, a lot of similarities were arised. Here is children who remember their past lives, and these doctors help them integrate into their new lives. So this is about the multidimensional aspect of the human being, that we're not only body, other aspects. Here is about the energy and chi in other cultures. Healing modalities, metaphysics, and here we have quantum physics, how through the quantum physics we can speak about these states that goes beyond the concept of physicality. Here I came across Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief, that came to transcend the concept of we're no longer slaves of our biology, but the environment plays a big role on the outcome and the healing and the state of mind. Then here I went back, trying to go back to the concept of spirituality. And I will leave the image talk. Here we have the relation with DMT and the brain, the pineal gland. So every gland has like a hormone, and this is the substance DMT with the pineal gland that create altered state of consciousness. So going back, seeking where do spirituality, how do we express our spirituality? I went back to shamanism and the altered states in healing ceremonies with psychedelic plants. Here it's ayahuasca, and how they create a space where the concept of catharsis is created at a group level. where here it's Alex Gray. His work is through the use of LSD. So we are talking about altered states of consciousness. Either it comes through organic ecstasy or through other substances, and how these states are embedded into the human being from the beginning of the evolution of society and before. This was the sculpture that was created, other works. It wasn't an easy period, but yes, it completed with this work that I will show you later. Okay, now we can return to the other slideshow. So after I completed this research about what's happening on the planet, at the planetary level, I had the need to go deeper into the metaphysical aspect of the being. The thesis and the sculptural documento was selected and presented in the Venice Biennial 2011. In the beginning, this piece I wanted to write on written language, which I haven't done yet, and I'm working on it. I also made some changes on the body of the sculpture. Here it's other subject about concept of relationship. Here, I wanted to think about Christ, so I made this piece made with nails. It's called Nails on Wood, meditative piece. So again, this is the concept of expansive states. A lot of sculpture is technical. It's a lot of work through different materials and techniques. So yeah, at the same time that I'm working like sculpture about the inner processes, I work also, try to put also works about the collective. Between the being and to be. So this is one of the first sculptures that I tried to show the work, the human being in different dimensions, analyzing a little deeper. Here we can see it as the emotion. All the emotions are of one person. So in one side you have the emotional body, and the other side you have this concept of non-physicality, this openness, and the figure in the middle, it's in negative. And on the side you have a symbol of prayer as a way to unite the two sides. So it's also about integration, the concept of integration, self-love, embrace of the self, of the emotions, in order to transform. This was exhibited in a personal exhibition that I had in a museum, Casino della Scultura, Montevarchi, together with other works. These are the subject in Artatina. So these were actually in parallel while I was trying to do the sculpture that we have here. This sculpture is the concept of what we leave behind, aspects of death, either it's beliefs, ideas, ego death, identities. So it's also about the concept of catharsis, perpetual transformation. In Greek, we call it also tapinosi, humbleness. Here it's Kali as a symbol of cleansing. So this concept of cleansing in different traditions. Here we go in the concept of balance, again, unity and balance in other ways of expression with the body. And here it is reflection that was presented in Biennale Larnaca, the first edition, and won the first prize. This is the poetic. that goes with the sculpture. So, reflection, a reflection on what we can define. You want to define the entity that you are, the experiences that you concreate. You want to encapsulate a perception and belief, a perspective, your identity, your indoctrination, your programming, your needs, your values, the projection of the idea of a collective, a millisecond of your evolutionary process, something that belongs to the past, a photogram in your vision of what you can envision, your place in the cycle. How far are you willing to zoom out or in from the boundaries that you perceive? Where did that idea came from? You that appear in a womb, that you own a body or what you embody. You that create this thought, this emotion, this manifestation. The decoding of this experience from a level of understanding that was already transformed by experiencing what you are capable to define. Smile for the next step, for forgiveness. When with this experience, you will understand the upgraded version of expression, the constant mutation of what you think you are in this hologram where everything has its evolutionary process, a creation that creates itself. Smile, and there shall be a smile. Love, and there shall be love. There is nothing to take, just the remains of our expression, our participation of the quality of this moment and its ripple effects. How far are you willing to expand your cycle? You, a reflection of what we can define. So here, it's symbolism. Again, the mirror comes often in my work about reflection. So this human that Documento was about the external world, and reflections about going within and seeing the self and the concept of the self in the community. So it stands for the brain. Underneath the brain, underneath the mirror, there are brains, symbolizing the concept of the collective projection of the understanding of the being. Here is the sculpture I'm here, that was presented in Venice Biennial of Architecture with the Cyprus Pavilion. I am where you are. And we go to this sculpture we have here, Vibrational Ego Trip. This sculpture was created together with another sculpture, which is entitled Inner Light, a template for higher frequency embodiment. At the same time that I wanted to go deep into the shadow aspect of the self, I was creating the work that would speak about the awakening of the free will to choose light, to choose the concept of light. So yeah, we will go later to that. These are other pieces. So it's also the concept of transcendence. So here, while I was doing this sculpture, I was exploring the concept of catharsis from different traditions. Here we have Christ, and this is a story that we learned where he made healing of a person that was perceived to have bad spirits, and the bad spirits left his body and went into pigs. This is also something that I saw directly into shamanic traditions where shamans face directly the person in order to assist the transmutation of dense energies. And this is also the concept of not identifying the person with the problems. So this is entitled Higher Love. And this is what happens. So the love of the being, because they know what happens, they understand that the being is not identified with the problems, they assist in creating a transformation, the healing. Here is from Buddhism, the concept of the forms of ego, and here is from the Greek concept of catharsis. So usually when there is a hero that goes in a cave or a labyrinth, it symbolizes inner process. So usually is the aspect to go within and find the problem, and then here the Medusa can be presented as the shadow aspect of Athena, and the hero gives the head of Athena, the head to Athena, the head of Medusa, and she put it on her shield. So for me, this moment is the transformation of knowledge, it's embodied knowledge. So this is the poetic that goes together with biodimensional allegory, the sculpture that we have here, quantum infinity unmanifested, fallen in reactivity and unconscious routine, only to be raised in a void filled with presence, in the presence of what is being presented, perceived, honored, embraced, acknowledged, liberated, integrated, once more in perpetual infinity, to the activated intention to will this emotion that sets in motion the vibrational signature of what is being presented by its conscious presence. So again, it recalls the concept of conscious creation. So here are some names of people who work about transformation of the being. It's Greg Braden. From him, I was introduced to the concept of the state of mind-heart coherence. Bruce Lipton, biology of belief. Tony Robbins, self-programming. Dr. Joe Dispenza, I would say controlled way to go in ecstasy and experience transcendent states as a decoding of spirituality, demystifying spirituality, and the healing that comes with that. Healing ceremonies from ayahuasca, with the Huichol of Mexico, different tradition. Huicholes of Mexico usually make a fire, and when something arises up, people go to the fire and they speak to the fire. So I found that very interesting in the middle of a ceremony. So I find it as a moment that issues can be consciously released. We have also cave cacao shaman. So during the creation of these works, I was actually physically going through these processes. And cacao ceremony, I found that it's one of the most cleanest way energetically, because it starts with, usually it starts with the state which is called go to glow. It is the activated of the higher heart, the way I see it. And this raises the frequency, the vibration, and assists in a way that lower frequencies cannot be attached easily. So it starts with love and this sense of empowerment and experiencing of embodiment of higher frequencies. Mark Passio, you can find his work about natural law. Then we have Corrado Malanga, James Gilliland, and Steve Nobel. Their work is more about extra dimensionals and healing. You have Fusion 7 healing, which is energy practice. So where the healing in shamanic traditions comes face to face with the shaman. Most of the time the shaman intentionally, literally sucks out their energies, the dark energies out of the bodies, assume them in order to transmute them. In the fusion healing style, the healing goes through a way of projection, so they envision the human being connected directly with source, and they see the cleansing happening without interacting directly. These are just different techniques that can be used in different occasions. And the Christian Orthodox monasteries with the concept of divine grace. What I found out is that in the concept of the shamanic ceremonies, a lot of healing happened mostly at the astral level, where the healing needs to be done. This, of course, it depends from the individuals that hold the space and the individuals that are participating to receive healing. What we saw in the Christian monasteries, what we found out is the construction of the ceremony is intended to connect directly with the higher angelic energies. These higher angelic energies can be expressed in the concept of divine grace. Here is the concept of duality. So the aspect that raises the frequency and the aspects that lower the frequency. So in the negative aspect, the negative polarity, we have the concept of evil, negative, harmful, illness, aspect that want to consume, take externally, service to self, so me, it's all about me gaining power over others, this connection. Parasitism, if you go metaphysically, you're talking about hungry ghosts in the astral and demonic beings. In the good, the positive, the light aspect, you have the good, the positive, you have healing, care. The concept of love is in the concept of care, because love is being decoded at the level of each being. So here I choose to put the word care as instead of love, and the concept to generate. So this concept of to generate, it's about energy. So not trying to take, but the concept to be self-sustained. Service to others, harmony, channeling divine grace. And here you go to ascended masters, saints, and the concept of angelic beings, beings of light. Here it's a way that we can try to describe multidimensionality and levels of consciousness, because this research started as the research of the forms of ego, and as I go in through the years, I found out these forms of ego, which is identity, which is the I am. Identity is simply what we identify with at that specific moment. It's like the I am. These are the 3D level, so we can make some divisions. It is the identity that identifies with materiality. I'm just the body. Everything is just material. It's dualistic, the concept of good and evil. It's reactivity. You did this to me, I'm going to do that to you. It is in the construct of time-space, personification of God. The God is seen as a person. I'm going to give money and I'm going to receive healing, for example, or I'm going to sign a contract with God. So it's God's fault that this happened. It's the concept of personification of God. Here, the highest frequency is gratitude, in love in the form of care. Gratitude is, what I found out is the door to start to experience expansive state of being. Now in the 4D, the concept of non-physicality, so the entity no longer identifies as just the body, understands that I'm not just the body, I am more than the body. The concept of personal responsibility, that they are taking place in creating their own reality. Layers of gray, this I want to say that it's not just black and white, it's not just good and evil, it's like layers of density, of expression, like every expression has a density. The concept of purge and prayer, so release dense emotions in the concept of prayer. Here I can also say that usually we can see this division when people enter into monasteries and they want to give their life to monasteries. They refer to the world as the world of matter, and they start to have a spiritual life. Here is the extreme that we can see this division in monasteries. Other people do it in their own life, consciously. The concept of energy bodies, 4th dimension is also astral. A lot of healing happen through the astral. The personification of God, we can see it as the source of all creation. And gratitude in this level becomes veneration. So it's an expansive state, a veneration of creation. 5D, we can see as the higher activation, the concept of perpetual transformation, the self as a frequency. They identify with a frequency, a state, if they can maintain a frequency. This usually happens with the technique of prayer. Usually it's called the continuous, like mantras. So they can align the mind to be always creating with the heart, to always create a frequency, a state that they can maintain. Quantum states in the brainwave is gamma brainwaves activated of bliss body, the concept of divine grace, embodied with divine grace. And here is also an expression that I really like when I've heard in the Greek Orthodox tradition, via charis. Via charis means by the grace of God. So it is the concept that the grace of God is being embodied. It is not you, but you are open to channel and receive greater levels of divine grace. This is the concept of sainthood. And here I put also the rainbow body, because like in the Christian tradition, we have the concept of saints. Usually after death, we see the bodies are being, they emit nice smell. And here we have the rainbow body in the Buddhist culture. When saints pass, the physical body shrinks and there are rainbows coming out of them. And they become light. And they are more energy than matter in their physical creation. So this is also the concept of embodying light. All these are concepts that are embedded in this sculpture here, the vibrational ego trip. In the tradition, we have the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is from the Jewish tradition. Actually, it predates the Jewish. And it is a map of consciousness where you have these round spheres that are called sephiros, and each sephiro represents a level of consciousness of the being. There is also, so there are two trees. There is the tree of knowledge, and which is, it's expressed the levels of consciousness, and then there is tree of life and the tree of knowledge. The tree of knowledge has to do with the shadow aspects of the being. So each aspect of the one tree relates to the light, and the other refers to the aspect that is the shadow aspect of the same, if I can express. And on this sculpture that we have here, vibrational ego trip, in the outside, in the inside, you have perimetrically, I will show you later, where is it? So if you see the figures perimetrically, has to do with the dense emotions. Behind, externally, it has a reference with the klipoth, the shadow aspect of the being. This is why I speak about this. So again, this is the concept of ego as the 7 deadly sins: envy, greed, lust, pride, gluttony, wrath, which is aspects of greed, is aspects that want to take. And you have the Tibetan wheel of karma, with the concept of the hungry ghosts. We have the 7 Hermetic principles, which are like the laws, part of creation: mentality, correspondence, vibration, polarity, gender, rhythm, cause and effect. And in the Hindu tradition of different levels of consciousness. So, and they are connected also with the chakra system and with the energy bodies. Most of us are familiar with the 7 that are in the body, but here we speak from others that are present in the physical body. This is the concept of layers of energies and healing, mental energy, thought forms, programs, misinterpretations, and ignorance, emotional, imprint, trauma, energy codes, energetically being bounded to a situation or other beings, spiritual presence, lower astral parasites. At the different level, at the soul level, you have soul contracts, agreements, and negative extra dimensionals. So these are informations that I took from different traditions, and I put them down as a reference. So here is the concept in this sculpture, vibrational ego trip. The title implies this. The ego trip is the I am, the identity, what am I identifying myself with, and the concept of frequency, of embodying frequencies from the highest to the lowest, the most dense. So the highest is closer to the source, and the lowest are further away of the concept of source and consciousness. Pride, here we have pride. So there are many, many informations. It's a combination of words inside. So in the inside perimeter, you have the dense emotions and dynamics, from division to addictions, forms of addictions, to pride, to grief. And in the outside, there are the reference from the Hebrew Kabbalah. In the center now, you have the concept of integration. In the beginning, I wanted to make just a figure from the middle that leaves this space. But as I was doing the research, I found myself going deeper. So I had to make another one figure that comes down. And there was born the concept of integration, not running away, but integrating, digesting, healing, greed. So in front you have the heart as a portal of highest frequencies. Behind you have this figure as a baby with all the belief systems. So it's a symbol of programming, indoctrination, belief systems. Underneath you have the figure that goes under as a form of ego death, release, the aspects that are not ready to be transformed organically are coming down, will be faced with their own selves. So the structure, it is inspired by Platonic solids. The Platonic solids that I use for this structure is the dodecahedron. Each Platonic solid has a specific meaning, specific energy, and represents a different level, elements, also at an emotional level, and physical elements. The dodecahedron has to do with consciousness. Here we have again the DNA and the frequency, the energy bodies. As you go up, you have, so here are some courses that I took, different courses that I also put in this sculpture. Higher you go, I try to express the aspects as with the geometry, as the energy. So highest are more energetic, and more you go down is the concept of more density. This is also the dodecahedron seen in the DNA spiral, and light being embodied. Again, here you have the concept of the 22 energy centers, that different levels. Usually these refer to other dimensions. Again, here the DNA is seen as a frequency. So here you have the concept of the energetic DNA. From the beginning above, all this starts with the concept of source from the Sri Yantra in a heart that are made with hearts. And from the beginning you have light, sound, color, and sacred geometry. So as the first forms of creation, frequency and vibration. And in the middle you have the heart, the consciousness in the heart. You have gratitude, emanation, bliss, overflow, mindfulness, conscious creation. So this is the concept of returning in the center. So from down you have the figure, the physical figure that is presented symbolizing centeredness, and above you have the non-physical aspect, as we saw before, going within. So it's the call to go within. Here again the concept of evolution through light, the angelic realms, Elohim. And together, when I was doing that side of the catharsis, I was doing, that was the shadow work, I was doing this work that is entitled Inner Light, a template for higher frequency embodiment. It is also the concept of the free will activation, to choose. In front you have different layers of the being. So up, down you have the arms that pull, one down and one up in this figure, allegoric figure that looks like an angel from down towards up. So from one side it assists to bring up lower frequencies, but from the other side it creates a border, filtering. So it's, you choose, you start to choose here your well-being. The upper figure is the mental body. Above that, the child symbolizes the inner light, the spark of life within each being. And above, the will to evolve that captures all the being. So this is like a shield of light. It's like the mental projection, the mental state. And behind, you have the emotional state, which is the energies that come from above and from under, from down to the heart. And the eye in the heart symbolizes the consciousness in the heart and creates expansion. This geometry, I wanted this to be open. The other sculpture, I wanted it to be encased in a closed space. Again, to symbolize the inner, that you have to go within to find these aspects. And here the concept is open, is openness, it's expansion. Here it's about the hexagon. The hexagon geometrically symbolizes the macrocosmos, the macrocosmic state. And here it's based on the pentagon. The pentagon symbolizes the material world, the microcosmos. So yes, every aspect has its own meaning, and here is behind you have the intention. So it says inner light, a template for higher frequency embodiment. With the free will of my soul, I revoke, neutralize, and clear all or any negative beliefs, contracts, entities, and creations from all timelines, levels, and dimensions of my existence, for the well-being, liberation, prosperity, and evolution for beauty and grace, for the one and the all, to primary source, blissful integrity. So here it's about choosing to do what is good for you, because usually we choose experience. So the concept of experimentation, this is also, it's a word that is also in the sculpture vibrational ego trip. The perimeter is the consciousness that strives to gain knowledge by experiencing situations. So it moves towards the perimeter of its being, experimentation. And integration is when those experiences come to be integrated, digested. Frequencies. So here is the sculpture that we saw before, the existence and the loving existence. Here it is placed, the figure that, here it's placing this symbolism of creation. The base is the hypercube. The hypercube symbolizes the fourth dimension. Above each hand you have a sphere and a cube. The cube symbolizes materiality, and the sphere the spiritual, also the female aspects, and the cube the male aspects. And as you go up, the diameter of the construction becomes finer. So here, at the beginning, the figure was alone, and here, after the research, it is placed in a construct of reality that varies in frequencies. And here is the concept of expansion. So here we have the sculptural loving existence, 0-point energy. The geometry is the cube octagon. It symbolizes the atom and this concept of 0-point energy, the sustaining field from within. And on the base you have the words from gratitude, veneration, and divine grace. So the different layers of expansion. Here we have the sculpture centeredness. It is presented now in the pavilion of the Republic of Cameroon in Venice Biennial. This is a reminder to return in our center. Underneath is the dense emotions, and above it's the concept of centeredness. And we are concluding with Remember to Love. This is a bench that I made with this figure. It's a reminder of love. And yes, it's placed in front of a school. So yeah, thank you very much. This is all.